Hi, Keegan. How are you?
Hi, it's nice to meet you. I feel like I know you.
I know it's a pleasure to finally meet you as well.
Yeah, Rory said, "Do kids get to say if they think gutless is good for daddies?"
I'm
He said, "What are you talking to Bryce about?" And I said, "I'm talking to him about whether I think other daddies should do gutless." He goes, "Oh, I could talk to Bryce about that."
get him on the line.
Hey, afterwards, you can talk to Mr. Bryce. Maybe after I talk to him, okay? Okay. All right. You'll get a turn. Can you
Five
have?
fingers make a fist.
Yeah, they know that, huh?
They know that.
Oh, you can listen to audiobooks. It's plugged in playing music in the kitchen. Sorry.
It's
It's
okay.
Bobby scheduled this so it was post lunch rest time so that he would not have to like really supervise, but he's got to get them all like their audiobooks into their naps.
Right. Well, I appreciate you guys scheduling me in.
Of course, yeah, we don't have a lot going on, we just have a lot of kids.
It's a full-time job.
It's the best kind of job. So yeah, we got a good little gig here. I mean, the quarantine stuff has been tough, but because the kids have each other and we have them, like it's definitely not boring.
Yeah.
And we keep really busy.
You got a little army. So,
Yeah, we do.
and super active boys too.
And now Bobby can keep up with them, which is even better.
It's impressive. Cool. Well, yeah, we'll just start out with you telling us a little bit about what you do. You are Bob Donlan's wife. Keegan Donlan is with us today to share a little bit about Bob's experience with Gutless, but also to inform us as to what it's like on the other side. So what it's like to be the wife of a gutless gangster like Bob, who has lost 40 pounds now post gutless. So he graduated back in August. He lost 37 pounds. And then he went on to lose another 3 pounds. So he's 40 pounds down. But yeah, when I talk to men for the first time, I don't know if Bob told you this, but the first time I spoke with Bob, he was feeling pretty low. He was in a kind of a low place. And a lot of men are when I first speak to them. And I wasn't sure if Bob was really ready for gutless. So I don't know if he told you this, but he said his commitment level was a 9 and I require a 10. So I'll say no to guys. And I was like, I need you at a 10 or else I can't let you in the program. It's fine if you're a 9, but if you're not ready, or if, for whatever reason you have hesitance, and maybe it's better for you to do this at another time. And he was like, no, well, let's talk about this. No, I'm a 10. I'm in. So I also have men say, let me check with my wife. While it's very important to check in with your counterpart, your better half, it's also important to know that, from a wife's perspective, they don't know what this is. And they're not on that initial call. They don't know why their husbands want to sign up. And, it's a big commitment and it does require an investment. So from the wife's perspective, it'd be interesting to hear what your initial thoughts were when Bob started talking about gutless. Were you a fan or were you like, what are you doing? Why are you investing this money? What's going on? What was that like?
Yeah, kind of all of the above. So I've been a little bit worried about Bobby because he hadn't been exercising as much and he had, gained some weight. And like you said, he just wasn't himself. He wasn't feeling great. And so I've been encouraging him to work out because I just had a baby. And so I was exercising and trying to eat well. And, I'm like sitting on the couch at night watching a movie, eating like dates. And he's like, don't you want to make chocolate chip cookies? And I was like, no, I don't want to. So I really did want him to do something for himself. But I was hesitant because it seemed like it was going to be a ton of work. And I thought it was going to be my work. He's like, well, there's a diet. And I was like, great. I'm going to be cooking for him and myself and the kids. And it seemed like it was going to be a lot. It seemed like a big investment. And I was like, is this worth it? Are you going to do it? I was like, I don't want you to just like say you're going to do it. He's like, no, I'm going to do it. So I was hesitant at first because I wasn't sure that he was really going to stick with it. So I wasn't sure if it was going to be worth it. And I thought it was going to be a lot of work for me. And I ended up being wrong on both counts because it was no work for me at all, because he just totally went off and did his stuff. And he's never done that, like cooked all the meals for himself, watched his weight on his own. He was totally independent with that. And it was easy. Like the diet was like straightforward. He had like the thing on the fridge. He knew what he could eat. He like had a few go-to meals that he would make. And so for him, that was like awesome. And I didn't have to worry about it at all. And it was, far worth the investment from what he got out of it. He put a lot in, but he got so much more out of it. So I was definitely hesitant at first. I was excited for him. I wasn't exactly sure it was going to be worth it, but it was more than worth it for sure.
Sometimes people think that because I only work with men, it's because we have some sort of bias. But I always say it's actually for a father and a husband's entire family. So the benefits that the kids get and the wife gets from a man stepping up, taking care of himself, getting his act together, losing 37 pounds in 8 weeks, stepping up his mental game, his disciplines, and really kind of adopting a lot of behaviors that are good for you, demonstrations of self-love. It changes the way that men show up. They come out of the program fired up, full of energy, full of life. And so the entire family benefits from Gutless. And so I don't work with women, not because I don't like to work with women. It's because boosting testosterone. So that doesn't really jive with, the female biology.
But I also think there's a lot of value to it because as a woman, I mean, I work and I'm a mom and it's hard and can be isolating, but it seems like there are groups for women. Like I have a postpartum workout group that I've been a part of, and I have a mother's book club I'm part of, and I'm part of like the citywide mothers club. And there aren't things like that for men. There aren't these like built-in communities for men where they can support each other and be vulnerable and go through hard stuff and share recipes and kind of, encourage each other. And I feel like that's a huge part of it for Bobby that I didn't know at the beginning. So at first I was like, okay, it's a strict diet and exercise. Like you could do that on your own. Like you could do that with me if you would stop asking me to make you chocolate chip cookies every night. But it's more than that. It was this camaraderie, this competitiveness, which I think Bobby really thrives on, but also this like massive support that I think is hard to find, not just if you're a dad, but just a person in the world today. But I feel like particularly males, like women, you have to look for it, but there are mom groups, there are mom workout clubs. That doesn't seem to really exist so much for men. And I think that is such an important part of it, that he was encouraged not just to work out and exercise, but to meditate in the morning, to be his best self, to beat the guy he was yesterday, like all these positive things. And he'll post a video like, hey, I had a rough day, so I did a hard workout and I feel better. And then he's got guys texting him, hey man, what can I do for you? Like, I'm there for you if you need to talk. Like, it's a community that really supports each other. And that is, I'm so glad he's healthy and lost weight and he looks amazing, but I'm so glad that he has that. And that has been such an important part of it. And having that kind of support makes not only it easier to stick with a strict diet and exercise and do all this stuff, it makes it easier for that to be sustained, because you're not just doing it for numbers on a scale, you're doing it because it becomes part of who you are and part of this larger culture that you're part of. So that community that you've built has been, I think that's been the most life-changing part. He's lost weight. He's made these great changes that I really think are lifelong, because he's lost weight before. Like every time I have a baby, we'll do some strict diet, and he's along for the ride. We don't do dairy or sugar or process anything or flour. But as soon as he gets off of that, he starts gaining weight back. But I feel like the program really reset him in a way that I did not think was possible. I was afraid that after it ended, he'd gain it all back, or he'd be like that annoying guy who's like, I can't have cake at my kid's birthday. I gotta look hot, But he looks hot. He hasn't gained back any weight. He's continued to lose, but he eats what he wants because he understands. I think he's reset himself in an incredible way. And I think he also has this arsenal of like dials to twist a little bit, where he's like, okay, I can eat this one day, I'm going to be strict the next day, get a harder workout in, maybe do a little intermittent fasting. Like he has all these tools that he didn't even know his body responded to. And I would put money on it that he's not going to gain the weight back, and that this is going to be like a lifetime thing. It's just absolutely incredible. So it's great for him, his body. It's great for his mind. It's great for our family to see. My little 6-year-old said, oh, I can't wait till I'm a grown up and I can be part of the Gutless gang.
They already are a part of the gang, but I can't wait to have them as actual gutless gangsters. We were joking around about the gutless youth, because we see a lot of other dads with their kids as well, and they're in the Facebook lives that they're doing. They make it into our weekly calls. So they sneak into the room, and we'll have them take us out. 5 fingers make a fist, and then getting the entire family involved is really some of the just the most rewarding aspects of what I do in my work. And so that's
so important, because then kids grow up with exercise being a positive thing and health not being something you do because you're sick and you have to change your diet. it, but having it be part of, like, it's a positive thing. It's a thing you do with your friends. It's enjoyable. It's part of the family culture. And that's so important. I want my boys to have that. I want them to, think about strong foods and work out as part of just like everyday life, and see that that's like a good, happy thing. And that's something that you've given our family. And I'm really, really grateful for that.
Oh, thank you so much. Positive role modeling is something that we're always striving to help guys with. And in the beginning, that's one of the most common issues that men have is they're not feeling very good about the way they're showing up for their sons and their daughters. And that's a source of guilt and frustration and shame. And then those feelings, those emotions can spill out into their relationships. And it's kind of the negative feedback loop we're trying to break. And so really good to hear that and also see it.
Yeah.
So, and you've already hit on a lot of the major changes that you saw take place with Bob over 8 weeks. And then now it's been about 4 or 5 months. What were some of the other changes that you noticed? And when did you notice them? When did you start to see kind of his mood and his attitude and his mindset shift?
I feel like that changed right away. I almost feel like for him, like committing to do something for himself but also that he saw this larger purpose for it. He was like, this is going to be good for the family. If I can like be healthy, I want to be around for my kids. I want to show up for my kids. I feel like it was like almost immediate. When he decided he was going to do it, it was like a switch flipped for him. It wasn't when he lost the weight. It was when he decided that he was going to start doing it, and when he started doing it. And I mean, there were so many parts of it that I just think were so wonderful that I didn't know about at the beginning. Like he's always been like a mindful person, but he started meditating every day and encouraging me to meditate every day. And he's like, oh, I found this great app, like you should try it. And so like I've started doing a better job of doing that. And he started prioritizing himself in a really, which is important and hard to do, not in a selfish way, but like he'd say, okay, I'm going to go get 30 minutes on the bike. And then I'm going to hold the baby and I want you to go and exercise too. And so it was like he became a better partner because he started taking care of himself and realizing neither of us had been doing that. And so that happened really quickly. So, I mean, he gained this like focus right away, this mindfulness, like he started being more patient with the boys, more like generally grounded because he started practicing the mindfulness more and being more aware. And then as time went on, he started adding some confidence to that as he like lost the weight and started feeling better about himself. I mean, the changes were drastic and it started from the beginning and it's kind of just been building since then.
Amazing. Yeah, we say what's good for the goose is good for the gander. And if you don't put yourself first, everybody comes in last. So a lot of the men I work with, they have this guilt around taking time out of the day to take care of themselves. But if they're not taking care of themselves, everybody's suffering, whether they know it or not. They're more impatient, like you said, they feel bad and down on themselves. And then as a result, that kind of spills out onto their relationships with their kids and their wives.
And it's amazing because it's not, like, he'll exercise and he'll give me the time. But even if he doesn't, watching him do that, like the other day I was making breakfast for the kids and he was in the other room, but I couldn't see him. But he was like talking to me. And so we're talking and I turned around, I was like, Bobby, where are you? He's like, oh, I'm on the floor. I'm doing abs. Like looked over the island and there's Bobby, like multitasking, like we're touching base about the day, but he's like doing planks and doing like flutter kicks. And he's doing such a good job of doing that, of like integrating his workouts and like taking care of himself into everyday life, that it's really like motivating for me because I'm like, well, I need to do that too. Like if he can fit abs in while I'm like schlepping in the kitchen, like I can do that while the kids are playing, or I can do that while dinner's cooking.
Nice.
And so taking that time, like he's taking it for himself and it makes him more mindful to give me time, but watching him do it makes me feel like, okay, I can do a better job of doing this too. Like I'm not going to have 2 hours carved out of my life to work out, but I can squeeze a workout in where I can. Like if Bobby can do it, I can do it. So that's been really cool too, because I'm watching him like prioritize that. And so it makes me feel like I can prioritize it too, even in the midst of like the crazy, because there is a lot of crazy.
That's amazing. I love that. Love to hear it. So you thought it was going to be a really strict diet, but as you've seen, now it's not that strict of a diet. Instead, Bobby has tools and he can eat, he can go off the menu and back on it. He has a system that is kind of flexible. So we talk about consistency versus variety. And so in a lot of my teachings, we talk about how that plays out in life. In a diet, we start really small. You have the M1 menu, and then you have the M2, and then in M3, that means the third month of Gutless, you get a lot more variety, and there's no real menu. Your hormones have shifted, your testosterone's up, your insulin sensitivity is up, estrogen levels are down. So you can actually have more variety in your diet after the 2 months that we put the guys through in the beginning and still keep the weight off. So Bob and I talked a few weeks ago, and he was saying, I'm eating Chinese food, I'm eating all this crap, and I'm not putting any weight back on, but I feel like I'm cheating and I don't feel like I'm challenging myself. And mentally it's messing with me. So the promise of Gutless is after the 8 weeks, you do get to have a lot more variety and flexibility, but not unless you get through the 8 weeks of M1 and M2. Then we talk about how that plays out in life with anything. Like rarely can you have variety and have predictability and consistency in results. Like in your marriage, and I use this example on our calls. I say, so in your marriage, for example, you can't have variety in your partners. So you can't go out and step out on your wife and have consistency in the love that you're getting from your wife and in your relationship. You don't get to have both. And same with food in the beginning. You don't get to have predictability in results and weight loss if you're choosing to have a lot of variety. So we keep it pretty narrow, and then we broaden it out with time. But yeah, consistency versus variety is something we talk about a lot. So was it hard you were talking about preparing the meals and worrying about that being super difficult. Was it difficult, or was it less difficult than you thought?
It was so much less difficult than I thought, Bryce. And all the other times before where I've done a really strict diet, it is way more difficult. But I feel like, I mean, I wasn't sure if I believed this was actually going to work for him. I didn't think he would stick to it. I mean, I'm not a naysayer, but I'm kind of a realist. It was amazing. He had like the list of the stuff he could eat. And so it wasn't overwhelming. He just made sure that those were the things he had. And he really quickly came up with like some meals that he liked to eat. He'd like grill the chicken and have his beans and have his salad or whatever. It was an M1. And so it was so easy because then I could make something for the whole family, and he would just like not have the pasta, have a bigger salad, have a bunch of beans with it. It was the easiest it's been. It was actually easier because I could just cook what I wanted with the boys. I didn't have to worry about him. And it was really easy. He just did it himself. And like, he's not a cook, but he could, the M1 and the M2, like it was easy stuff. It wasn't an overwhelming list. So he just honed in on the things he liked to eat. He kind of had a go-to breakfast, a few things he would kind of mix in for lunch, and then like the dinner. I mean, it was easy. I was shocked. It was easy. And I think like you're probably saying, it's that consistency. There's an M1, it's kind of restrictive, but there's enough variety that he wasn't bored, but it wasn't overwhelming that he had like a million things to choose from. And so it was very, very doable for him. And it was enough food that he wasn't hungry all the time. I was very impressed and shocked. But it was the easiest cooking I've had in months. I almost wish he would go back to it because then he'd cook for himself and I could just cook for the kids and me.
Yeah, what's shocking is there's no calorie counting, there's no portion control. So people don't understand that. In the beginning, as we go through these courses, there's all these repeating patterns. And one of them is in the beginning, guys are trying to cut carbs and I'm yelling at them, eat your carbs, get your carbs in, eat more food. Is that meal made for ants? This is not a starvation diet. So it's counterintuitive. And that's kind of why it works for men, because all the things that men are used to and associate, positive weight loss results with are not things that we do. And that's why we have long-term results and long-term success. So thank you for sharing that. And then what would you say to men who are like, I don't know, I got to check with my wife, or the wives of men who are like, what the hell is Gutless? What are you talking about signing up for?
I mean, I feel like at the beginning, I was like, Bobby, I don't know if it's going to be worth it. Like, it seems like a lot. You haven't been doing anything. Don't you just want to go running a few times a week? Stop eating cookies at night. Like, you can lose weight. You've done it before. I mean, I was definitely hesitant. I didn't think it was going to be worth it. But I will say it has changed Bobby in a way that I couldn't have imagined. His body has completely changed. And it's sustainable. I mean, he's not on a diet anymore, but he's still losing weight. He's eating normally, but his body, I mean, he's thinner than he's ever been and stronger and healthier than he's ever been. And his like cholesterol is down, his blood pressure, I mean, he's healthier than he's ever been. And it wasn't hard. Like he put in the work, but it was such a positive experience for him. He wasn't hungry. He wasn't depriving himself. He wasn't cranky about it. He's gained this community of people who are like-minded and healthy and want to be their best and want to encourage each other to be better men and better fathers and better dads. He's more mindful. He understands what his body needs more. He's better at prioritizing himself and self-care. He's enjoying working out again. He's helping my kids enjoy working out and being an example to them of taking care of yourself. He's encouraging me to take care of myself more. I mean, 100% do it. 100% it's worth it. It seems kind of overwhelming at the beginning, and it seems like it's going to be hard or it's going to be this crazy diet. It's so much more than that. It's not hard. It's not a crazy diet. It's a community of men supporting each other and helping to kind of rewire their bodies to be their strongest and healthiest and best. And I would not have believed it at the beginning, but the results are incredible. And I feel like Bobby is happier and healthier than he's been since I've met him. So I cannot recommend it highly enough.
Maybe I should bring you on as a salesperson. You're better at selling than I am.
I honestly, it's an amazing program. And I think a big part of it is you. And I think a big part of it is the men that have joined, that you've chosen to join. I mean, it just seems like this incredible community of guys who are just supporting each other. And I think, in a pandemic, we all need that connection in general. And I think it's harder for men to find that. I think it's harder for men to open up and be like, hey, I'm not happy with where I am right now. Like, hey, I've let myself go and that's not cool and I need to do better. Like, those aren't conversations that I feel like Bobby generally has with his friends. And being able to be vulnerable and connecting with people who are in a similar place and being able to encourage each other through that is so, so valuable. And I feel like that has helped him achieve even more than he ever could have or would have on his own. No matter how dedicated he is or how hard he works, having other men supporting him, kind of competing with him, encouraging him, that has made a world of difference.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And it was very nice to finally get to meet you.
I know. I feel like you're part of the family now. So,
he always logged in with your Zoom account. So it was always, in the beginning, I was like, who the hell is Keegan? Keegan, what the hell? Who is this person? Because on our first calls, I wasn't aware of it. I didn't know your name. So there are Zoom bombers. So when we have our calls, I'm always looking at who's on the call. Yeah. And we had our admin assistant go, Bryce, there's somebody on named Keegan. And I was like, shit, we don't have a Keegan.
That's just me being a lazy wife and not logging out of Zoom after I finish teaching. Well, thanks for letting him in anyway, Bryce. Thanks for taking over his son, Keegan Donlan.
Absolutely. Thank you for giving your approval, and thank you for supporting him and being such an amazing wife. And it was so nice speaking with you.
It was nice speaking to you too. I'm very grateful for what you've done. I feel like you've given him back to me in a way. He was going through a rough time, and I was having a hard time knowing how to help him. I remember on a phone call with one of my best girlfriends saying, like, I don't know what to do because Bobby won't take care of himself. Like, he's not exercising. He's not eating well. I'm doing it. I'm trying to lose all this baby weight. And normally he's like with me and encouraging me, and he's like trying to thwart me. And he's like, I know he's not happy. I know he's not his best self right now. And I just can't seem to get him to do it. Like, I'll exercise and I'll say, Bobby, now you go out. And he's like, nah, I'm good. I don't feel like it today. And I was worried about him, worried about his health, worried about him being around for the kids. And I couldn't do it. And I'm so grateful that Gutless was able to help him get there, because it's so important. And it's been way better results than I could have gotten, even if I was able to nag him into going back to the gym. So thank you.
Well, you were a big part of his success. So thank you. And thank you for your time today. Once again, the last thing we do is 5 fingers, make a fist. Gutless gang. Yeah. And
that was my first one. I feel like I'm in the crew now.
Feeling good?
Yeah.
Good. Feeling powerful. Let's go. Did you say let's go?
Let's go.
Let's go. Oh, you know all the lingo. So do
I know the
little
lingo.
guys.
He had it on the board for a really long time, and it said, beat the man you were yesterday, let's go. So when he was on his bike, and I teach in here, and one of my students was like, what does your whiteboard say? And I was like, oh, that's my husband's, gutless gang thing. And they were like,
Yeah.
what is going on?
Let's go. Let's go. I love it. Well, thank you so much, Keegan. Is your little guy around? Does he want to give us
Yeah, they're around. Want me to grab them?
Yeah, bring him in.
Okay.
All right.
Hold on a sec. Thank you, Bryce.
Thank you, Keegan.
The boys want to talk to Bryce.
There he is.
Hey.
That was amazing.
Oh, good. Awesome.
So good.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring
the
Keegan on as my number one gunner salesperson.
right? I mean, she's amazing. She just, she's incredible woman, and just a great person. And so that's why I suggested it, because I knew it would be really good. I'm sure she had some great things to say, and she's just, people gravitate towards her. You know?
Yeah, she's incredible, man. You're a lucky fella.
I sure am. Oh, you say hi.
This is number 4, right?
This is number 4.
Little gutless gangster.
Little guy. Hey, who's that? Who's that?
Kip.
Kip. What's going on, Kip?
Grab a chair, bud.
What do we say in the Gutless gang? 5 fingers.
5 fingers fist.
Make a fist. Gutless gang. What other sayings do you know? Hey, buddy. 5 fingers fist.
Rudy, show him.
5 fingers.
5 fingers.
5 fingers fist.
Fist. Yeah. Do you guys like working out with your daddy?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun, huh?
Uh-huh.
Are you guys going to be gutless gangsters when you grow up?
Yeah.
Yeah? Who's going to be the biggest, strongest, fastest gutless
I
gangster?
love puppies. Me.
You like burpees? Yeah, boy. That is a classic baby gangster, a little gutless gangster. So what are you guys up to? What are you guys doing today?
I don't know.
I don't know. Just hanging out?
Just hang out.
Yeah?
All right, Roy, come on over, bud. There's the crew.
Oh, there we go. There he is. Daddy's climbed another mountain today. I saw you on the video. Are you doing burpees with Daddy too?
Yeah, sometimes.
Sometimes?
Sometimes I don't.
Sometimes you don't. Do you know the gutless saying, 5 fingers make a fist?
Yeah.
Let's do it. 5 fingers make a fist. Boom. Gutless gang. Good to see you guys. I hope to see more of you on the live videos with your dad doing burpees. Getting strong. Who's the strongest?
Who's the strongest?
Daddy.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, you have yourselves a good day, and we'll sign it out. We'll get all you guys doing.
Everybody should go gutless.
What's that, buddy?
Everybody should do gutless game.
You guys, I'm going to bring you into my sales team as well.
All right. We'll be ready. All right, guys.
All right, guys. 5 fingers.
Thanks, Bryce.
Make a fist. Boom. Family.